Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join me once again for the Championship review show. And we can do it at 10 a.m. on a Sunday this week because all of the games have been played already. No lag this week, no Sunday games to catch up on. So we can get everything covered right here, right now, hopefully with plenty of input from you guys watching right now in this stream. So please get your thoughts in on each and every game. We'll deal with all 12 of them. We always do. Don't worry. It's Sunday. I've got all day. We can do every single game. So get your comments in as we go on each and every game. Let me know that you can see me and hear me loudly and clearly. We will go from top to bottom, every single game, every single goal, and then we'll finish up team of the week and goal of the week. So have a little think about what you might, or who you might indeed be putting forward for both of those two categories. Right, we'll get into the action momentarily. First of all, quick plug. Thank you to Russ Peake, a fan and now a friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Russ is our fan sponsor for the Championship review. Great supporter of the channel. So thank you, Russ. He sponsors all of the review shows here. And as you can see, ticking across the bottom there, you can support me in the same way Russ has done by super chatting during the show. You can subscribe over on Patreon. I promise I'll get something up today or tomorrow over there. You can buy some merchandise from the Teespring store if you want to do so. Just type in live at the checkout and you get 10% discount. We'll run that for a couple more weeks. But most importantly, get your comments in as we go. Get your views in on each of the games we're going to talk about in the state of play in the Championship. And hit the like button and subscribe on whichever platform you are watching. Let's go to the split screen, and there are our round 18 results in the Championship. Early kickoff and then 11 games all at 3 p.m, which made for a lot of fun on the Saturday Super Stream yesterday. Do come and join us for that show if you haven't already, although grounds are opening up. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe there'll be fewer and fewer people on the Super Stream as people get into games. So early kickoff, Cardiff 0, Swansea 2, and then the 3 o'clocks. Birmingham 0, Watford 1, Blackburn 1, Norwich 2, Bournemouth 5, Huddersfield 0, Derby 0, Stoke 0, Luton 3, Preston 0, Borough 3, Millwall 0, Forest 1, Brentford 3. Excuse me. QPR 0, Reading 1. Rotherham 2, Bristol City 0. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Barnsley 2, Wycombe 1, Coventry 2. As ever, we will start at the top and 3 points clear now with a third straight win are Norwich City, who went away to Blackburn and got a 2-1 victory. Get your comments in on Norwich's brilliant form, really, and rise up to the top of the league and 3 points clear. Now we'll have a look at the goals in a second. Norwich's injuries clearing. Remember, they were worst hit really in that Luton game and that Coventry game, weren't they? But the past few games, they've put out a pretty damn strong team with 3 or 4 names on the bench. And now all of a sudden, you're starting to look and Hugo McLean, Stieperman, Dowell, Cantwell on the bench. You're starting to see the power of that Norwich City squad as the injuries clear. Still McGovern in ahead of Krul in goal. Obviously, that is a step down. But then Aarons, Zimmerman, Hanley, Sorensen, well, that's a step down from Quintia. Teti and Skip, Buendia, Vrancic. Martin has done well, a youngster stepping in during the crisis. He probably he may stay in the team, who knows? But with people like Cantwell especially and Dowell now across the front, he's probably done his work temporarily there. And Teemu Pukki up top. As I said, if you are talking about injuries and you're talking about Norwich, As long as Buendia's fit, you're probably okay. And if Buendia, Pukki and Aarons are all fit, you're definitely okay. And I think the table is proving that at the moment. But hats off, they've got through it and they look very, very powerful, don't they? Blackburn, Kaminsky, Nyambi, Lenihan, Williams, Douglas across the back, Holtby, Johnson, Rothwell, and you talk about Buendia and Pukki as a pair. Elliott and Armstrong, I like very, very much in that Blackburn team with Gallagher up top as well. I got my first look at Elliott. We did a watch along in the midweek, and he looks a brilliant player. He's only 17 or 18 or something as well. Let's have a look here. There is Teemu Pukki spinning for the opener. And the highest praise I can give this goal is anyone of my age will remember Ian Rush, who scored tons of goals like that, where the ball goes loose in the box. And he just used to be able to spin and hit before anyone could react. And in it goes on Kaminsky's near post. A great goal by Harvey Elliott here, coming in from the right-hand side. Grant Hanley look away as I think there's a nutmeg in there. And he slides it in. What a great player he is. And, well, we had one like this. At least this one deflects off a Norwich player this time. I think Pukki's getting the credit for this one. Buendia, long ranger, and Pukki diverts it into the net. Let's not debate whether, unless you're Teemu Pukki going to appear in the comments, let's not debate whether it was deliberate, because you don't know. He knows, and only he knows. So I don't know if he's been interviewed about it. Let's have a look at the numbers, and we'll get to your comments momentarily. Guys, Blackburn 56% on the possession. 37 shots in this game, 20 shots to 17 in Blackburn's favour there, 7 on target apiece, 6 corners to 3 in Blackburn's favour as well. However, I always say big chances are revealing. 0 big chances for Blackburn, the 1 for Norwich. And what we know about Norwich is in a tight game, they know how to win. This team really, really knows how to win, whether it's a late goal, whether it's a deflected goal, whatever. Their pattern of play is so sorted and solid. Their squad is so strong, and they know how to win, and they just keep on winning, don't they? Let's have a look at the table. And Norwich, excellent job. 37 points from 18, 11 wins is a league high. Only Reading are within 1 game of that as well, you can see. 3 straight wins, 3 points clear. Players coming back. Very, very viable for, well, you'd make them championship foul. You talk about Bournemouth in a second and a 5-0 victory, but Norwich looks so strong, don't they? Blackburn, look at that, 1 point in the last 3 games. And yes, they have got Elliott and Armstrong up top, but there's been this sense that they score goals and, you know, they have good games and they get good victories, but not necessarily piecing it together. They had been on a good run up until this past 3 games, but they've dropped down again to 12th. And as you can see in that table, and this will be a theme today, look at the top 6. They all won yesterday. We're starting to get a move at the top of the table. Those people with either the most solid pattern of play, the strongest squad, or in Bournemouth and Norwich's case, both are starting to put the points on the table now and starting to get good totals. And, you know, we have our 2 points per gamer, and possibly Bournemouth could get there in the next 3 or 4 games. So, big tip of the hat to Norwich. They're going great guns, aren't they? Blackburn, still a little sceptical, but hugely high on Harvey Elliott. Particularly, let's have a look here. David says, will Norwich win at the Vic? At the moment, I would say so. Yeah, when is that game, David? I think Watford are just a little bit off Norwich and Bournemouth at the moment. So I think they can, yeah. Blackburn not beating anyone in the top half. There you go. Chris says Blackburn still haven't beaten anyone currently higher than 11th. There you go. From the man himself, Pukki on Norwich YouTube claims it was intended. Well, he's the only one who knows. Add another million to the fee for Liverpool. Hello, Elliott. Brilliant player, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant. Elliott goal was amazing, to be fair. Can we have Pukki on loan, says Nat. 1-in-2 ratio for P. He's been an absolutely brilliant player for Norwich. I fear a very boring promotion race appearing. Well, I got in trouble talking about the parachute cartel, but they are starting to dominate now, aren't they? Norwich seem to find a way with the injuries. The injuries are done now. They look so strong, don't they? Especially when you look at the bench. Simon says good minutes for McLean and Cantwell. Krill's return imminent. Excuse me. We appear to have fiddled our way through the injury crisis with barely a scratch. They've done absolutely brilliantly. And in this season, where there's not a lot of time to prepare, there's not been a lot of pre-season, the teams who can just show up, who know their pattern of play, are going to rise. And Norwich certainly would be probably along with Swansea top of that list, wouldn't it? The issue with Norwich, Phuket is excellent in the Championship, but when duly promoted, diabolical. But well, that might be an issue for next season, Chris. But Boxing Day on Sky, a big one. Let's see if Watford can. Well, we'll talk about Watford in a minute, but tip of the hat from me to Norwich for sure. Right, we're going next to Bournemouth 5, Huddersfield 0. Get your thoughts in on Bournemouth, who we saw win 4-0 on the watch along, now winning 5-0 against Huddersfield. Are we starting to get a side clicking into top gear and some, again, same thing we said about Norwich, some very fine ex-Premier League players starting to punish a few Championship teams, particularly, I mean, when you talk about Barnsley and Huddersfield, Championship teams maybe in the middle of the table who play a little bit open, and Bournemouth have just taken them both to the cleaners recently, haven't they? There is your lineups: Begovic, Cook, Simpson, Kelly, Steve Cook, that is, Lewis Cook in midfield with Billing and Lerma. Smith, did Stanislas really play wing-back? I'm not sure he did. Maybe a Bournemouth fan can let me know about that in the chat. Solanke and Brooks. And again, you just say the front three: Stanislas, Solanke, and Brooks. And that's where we are in the Championship this season. Hamer in goal, who appears to have gone off at half-time there. Rowe, Edmonds Green, Sarr, Toffolo. So no Pippa. It's on the bench indeed. Pritchard, O'Brien, Bakuna, Brown, Ward, Diakabi. Obviously, bad news for Huddersfield. Josh Koroma out for, I think, 3 months as well. So he's been having a really, really good season. Get your comments in on Bournemouth 5, Huddersfield 0. Let's have a look at the goals here. Lovely one, this. David Brooks plays it through. Solanke, who's moving into lovely form as well, just dinks it over the keeper with the left foot. Lerma, plays it through. Solanke, touch finish. Bang, 2-0 within like a quarter of an hour, game over. David Brooks, left foot, edge of the box, curls that one into the corner. Brilliant goal. 4-0 here. Stanislas, that picture does... Oh, sorry, is that the Stanislas goal or the Surridge goal? That's the Surridge goal. Stanislas, the picture doesn't do it justice there. He's dribbled from the left, just one of those goals where the player just starts to accelerate and you think he's just going to keep going here. And that he does. Finds his way all the way through and finishes. And then that is Sam Surridge. Nicely constructed move. Quick, bish, bash, bosh pass, and Surridge gets the finish. So all of the front players, Solanke, Brooks, and Stanislas scoring. And then the substitute, Surridge, who was decent for Swansea. Well, I bet Swansea would take him back this season, actually, Surridge. Last season, that's the strength Bournemouth have got up top. Excellent job by Tyndall. And they are moving very much in the right direction. Let's have a look at the numbers. Wow. 5 big chances to 0. I think that's all we need to say on that one. I mean, 8 shots on target for Huddersfield, but none rated as big chances there by SofaScore. Fair play to Huddersfield. They play nice football, but they do play open. We talked for ages about the risk and reward of doing that. And the risk is that there will be the odd game like this, where you come up against a team that, you know, and no offence to the Huddersfield players, Bournemouth have got better players than Huddersfield. A lot of them have played in the Premier League and weren't sold in the summer. So there you go. But yeah, big tip of the hat to Jason Tindall. I thought of the 3 relegated teams, Bournemouth would be the one where there was the most chaos, but no chaos whatsoever. Ake, Ramsdale, Wilson, out they go. Everything else nice and stable. And we're not even mentioning sort of Dan Juma as well into that mix of really decent front players that they've got. So well done, Tindall. Big picture for Huddersfield is good. You just worry without Karoma, who'd been a mainstay. I think one of our commenters said yesterday that Corberon almost said, I don't expect to win this game, and rested some players yesterday. Maybe they've got more winnable games coming up. Remember, only 2 remaining now in the mad run of 9 in 5 weeks that takes us up to game 20. So there you go. Bournemouth 5, Huddersfield 0. Let's have a look at your comments on that one. Corberon rotated to a weak team with an eye on Coventry in the... There you go. Thank you, Chris. Solanke, poor in the Premier League last season, but looks great in the Championship. Trying to remember other strikers who... Oh, there's been many. Pick me. David Nugent, David Johnson, who used to play for Ipswich, Rob Earnshaw, Darren Huckabee. Maybe it's a bit unfair. He did do good things with Leeds. Dwight Gale. There's been so many, haven't they? Huddersfield didn't help themselves, making a bunch of changes. Bournemouth put them to the sword and punished every error. 8 in 19 in all comps for Solanke. Still somewhere I've justified that £19 million price tag. Fair enough, maybe, yeah. In their promotion season, everybody can see that Norwich let in far too many goals, even in the Championship. They do look better defensively now, don't they? With, what centre-backs? Although it was Zimmerman and Godfrey, who was never really a centre-half by trade, was he? But it's still Hanley, Gibson's injured. But, yeah, they do look a bit more solid, don't they? Solanke's proven me wrong, as I didn't think he would score regularly at this level. Toby says, I didn't see, but Stanislas has played wing-back. Oh, okay. Yeah, Stanislas did actually kind of play a free well left wing-back. I've been asked this before, Dan. I don't know. I need to do some research here. Have the relegated teams all gone up before? I don't know. But this looks like one of the best chances, doesn't it? Nugent does have 1 goal for England. Yes, he does. I asked Kevin Phillips about that. He's not bitter about the fact that Nugent scored for England and he didn't. Right. Moving on, was the early kickoff, was Cardiff versus Swansea in the derby match over in Wales. We did this one as the watch along, and decent performance by Swansea, who go ahead and win this one 2-0. Get your comments in on Cardiff 0, Swansea 2. There are your teams. Smithies, Bakuna, Morrison, Nelson, Bennett, Wilson, Volks, Rolls, Ojo across midfield, and Moore and Harris up top for Cardiff. For Swansea, Woodman, Norton, Bennett, Gray, Robertson, Bidwell. I'm quite high on those 2 wing-backs, actually. Do a great job for Swansea. Grimes, Fulton, Smith. So less of a number 10 in there in this derby match. We often get Danda or Casey Palmer, and maybe when Gibbs White is fit. So more of a flat midfield 3 there. AU and Lowe up top. And I went into this game saying, well, still haven't got a striker. AU's a great player, but doesn't. What about Lowe? He's a winger. Lowe's going to get 2 goals in this game. So maybe, and someone mentioned it in the comments, I'm stealing their thunder yesterday, maybe they can start to develop in the same way that Ollie Watkins moved across. Maybe they've got their striker and he just needs training and coaching and practice and game time. And maybe they can just work on him. I don't know who the striking coaches are at Swansea, but perhaps if they can just get someone to work closely with Jamal Lowe, maybe the guy's already there. Certainly with one of the finishes yesterday, could well be. There is the first goal. But slightly unfairly got the ire of some Swansea fans by suggesting the sun might have been in Joe Bennett's eyes. Don't take that personally when he didn't win the header against Roberts. Roberts does win the header, headed across, and Jamal Lowe on the volley there You can see Smithies, he can't quite see around Sean Morrison, and it pretty much goes through Smithies for the early goal. We know Swansea have a good defence, don't we? So taking the lead 4 minutes in, we knew they'd be able to sit on this, and they did really well. And we knew it was kind of game over when Joe Rawls gets a second yellow there, just a bit late on Corey Smith. And this was a great goal, I have to say. Some really good goals yesterday. Good luck with your goal of the week. We've already had Elliott, Brooks and Stanislas. This was a beautiful goal. I remember Adel Tarab scoring a very similar goal to this. Jamal Lowe has dribbled that a little while. He drags his right foot across it, and then with the outside of the right foot, look at that for a finish. And he's going to curve that round the outside of Smithies in the goal. Really great goal by Lowe there. I was really enjoyed that one in real time yesterday. Get your comments in on Cardiff 0, Swansea 2. We'll have a look at the numbers, although I watched the game, so I don't need to rely 100% on the numbers. 1 big chance to 0. So only 2 shots on target for Cardiff and no big chances, really. Kiefer Moore went off hurt as well. You can see they're on 56, which is never good news because they're kind of based on him. And you got this thing with Swansea now where are they the combination? We talked about Norwich's defence improving this season compared to last time they were in the Championship. Are Swansea the combination of a team that can pass and move the ball nicely, but are also very, very solid? We've spoken about this being the season of the grind with Warne and Warnock and Ainsworth and Pulis, and I'll probably miss Rowett, Ivic, tons of managers who are quite pragmatic. Are Swansea the best hybrid? I mean, you'd say maybe a Norwich or a Brentford or maybe even a Huddersfield, the more open and flowing. But are Swansea the best hybrid of defence and good passing? I wonder, and can they challenge the parachute cartel up the top there? At the moment, they can, with Swansea just getting in between the 3 relegated teams in 3rd place there. Cardiff dropping to 10th after a 4-game win streak. Let's have a look at your comments on this one. Mr. Poopams says, best performance of the season for Swansea. Good job, wasn't it? Cooper versus Harris. No contest, really. Cooper is good, isn't he? Harris is back under pressure after that Derby loss. Roberts is the best wing-back in the Championship. He does a great job, doesn't he? And Bidwell's no slouch on the other side, Chris. Is he? Good points as always. Cardiff tried their best to keep it messy in midfield, but Swan's too classy in this one. Second goal reminded me of a Berbatov goal. That's high praise indeed. What great player Berbatov was. The 3 relegated sides do look strong, but one of them will have to face the playoff lottery. Yeah, which you could get a Brentford or a Swansea, and Brentford will get stronger too. Rampant Ram was at the game where the Nuge scored in Andorra. I remember I was playing a gig. I remember this distinctly. I was playing a gig in Brighton, and I remember pulling up at a petrol station and asking someone what the England score was. I don't know why I remember that. I can even tell you where the petrol station is in Brighton. I remember it clear as day. For some reason, you remember silly, unimportant things. There you go. When was that? 2007? Happy days, eh? Happy days. Birmingham 0, Watford 1. Get your comments in on this one. Troy Deeney punishing the team that he supports, and Watford getting the victory. I saw Watford on Tuesday night in the flesh, and they were pretty good for the first half and then pretty bad for the second half, and Ivic was absolutely furious afterwards. So this looks like a bit of an improved performance. I haven't heard any quotes from Ivic afterwards, but let me know your thoughts on this one. Birmingham 0, Watford 1. We expected it to be tight, didn't we, between Karanka and Karanka and Ivic, and indeed it was. If I make any mistakes, by the way, in this, guys, it's very hard doing 24 Championship teams and 12 games with 3 games a week. I do my best. Be kind on the small little trip-ups I do make. So there is your 2 sides there. Etheridge in goal for Birmingham. Robert San Jose, Clark Salter, Pedersen and Cogley wing-backs. Sunjic Keefton Bell, Gardner. We've Jutkovic coming back in and Leko. So bit of rotation. A lot of managers chopping and changing now. They know the week off is coming for Christmas, except for, mentioned this the other day, for Stoke and Brentford, who are still in the Carabao Cup. But everyone else is going to love that week off. It's the most it's been all season, virtually, other than that international break. Watford there, Foster in goal, and Gakia, Ekong, Wilmot, Firmino. So Kabasele steps down, still rotating the centre halves. Ivic, Chalobah, Garner and Cleverley central, Sema and Keena. By the way, I was impressed with Firmino and Sema when I saw Watford live. Good left-hand side they've got there. Dini up the top. So no Ismaila Sarr, no João Pedro in the starting 11 there. There was, I heard somebody say in the comments yesterday, possibly a COVID rumour on one or other of those guys. You'd think Sarr plays if he's fit, wouldn't you? So get comments in on this one. Here is the penalty incident. It's Stipe Perizza who's come off the bench. And, I mean, let's not... I hate getting drawn into referee stuff. Perizza gets past Pedersen, and it's another one of those, isn't it? Is the contact proportional to bring him down? No, probably not. Does Perizza wait for the contact? Yes, he does. Does he go down easily? Yes, he does. Does that not make it a penalty? I don't know. You decide. It's he hardly goes through him, but we've seen plenty of these where the striker gets just in position and you get punished. We heard Jamie Carragher speak very well on this on Sky. Don't make slide tackles in the box. You just know if the forward player decides he's going to wait for the contact and go down. Now, in 2020, you probably concede a penalty. So I think Pedersen needs to be more sure that he can get a really good contact on the ball, because that seems to be the only thing now. You have to be in the penalty box. You have to be way, way ahead and make very, very little or no contact with the player. Else you're running the risk here. So debate away if you think it was a pen or not. Dini, spot the ball there. You can see it in the middle of the goal. Just slams it home and gets the win there for Watford. Let's have a look at the numbers. And I do think Ivic will be more happy with this. When you look, 3 big chances to 0. Tight game. Look, 3 shots on target to 2 over the whole game. What do we have? Like 37 shots in the Norwich Blackburn game or something like that. So I don't know. I don't know if we've got Watford fans in the chat whether Ivic was happier with that. You would assume he would be, but you'd also assume that he's never happy, judging by his demeanour. It's decent form for Watford, 10 points in 5. I mean, that's pretty standard at the top. Norwich have got 10 in 5. Bournemouth have got only 8. Swansea have got 10. Watford have got 10. And then looking at Reading and Brentford, I can see 10 and 11 below. So is there a top 6 forming there? I wonder. I wonder. Name that tune. I don't know. I do just have the sense that Bournemouth and Norwich are just a little bit further ahead in their plan of what their manager wants them to do. There's no new ideas really at Norwich or Bournemouth. You got the same manager at Norwich. You got a manager who's worked there for ages at Bournemouth. Same at Swansea. They're in the second season. I always say look for the second season. Whereas Watford still got to learn Ivic's ideas, but a squad stacked with quality. Birmingham, well, they'd had back-to-back wins. Their season's not going to be defined against games against the Parachute Cartel, is it? So some sense of an upward trend at Birmingham. I know the fans have found it a bit dour this season, but you can now see where Karanka is going. Can they execute and can they get results is the issue. Now, let's have a look at your comments on that one, guys. Del Shannon. David is the master of name that tune on here. He always wins. Ivic showing his year of the churn skills. 1 loss in 9 despite Watford not quite. I totally agree with that. Delayed pilot. Still not convinced Watford look good enough for top 2. Yeah, that's probably a fair comment. I just don't see them finishing outside of the top 6, Dasher. Birmingham are dreadful at home. Watford still have only scored 4 away goals in 9, rather low in the XG table compared to their actual position. Interesting, Chris. Sometimes you get teams who can debunk that XG table by being really good defensively, can't you? And I suppose if you had quality attacking players like Sarr and Dini and João Pedro, etc., then maybes. Draw would have been a fair result. No argument on the pen. There you go. A self-aware John there, Birmingham fan. Disappointed in Watford. They weren't very good. Light years behind Bournemouth and Norwich. He agrees with me. Karanka did go uber defensive with the 5 changes. Great comment, John. David says Brentford, Norwich and Swansea in the next 5 and within 4 weeks. Very interesting there. Big test now for Watford. We're going to find out. Either we're going to be right and they're going to drop some points, or they're going to prove us wrong and, they'll join Norwich and Bournemouth up in that top 3. You sort out the order of them. If it's post-match, if you ask me if I'm satisfied with our away performance, I can't be. We've only picked up 2 away wins, an important 3 points, and I hope this attitude can continue. Oh, good. Yeah, because he was questioning the attitude on Tuesday night, wasn't he? Right, on we go. QPR 0. Reading 1. Get your comments in on this one. And Reading continue to have a really decent season. They continue to come back from the 4 straight defeats. Paunovic continues to do a good job. And the scepticism, I'd be interested in your guys' comments on this. The scepticism we had, and I mean, it was fair to be confused, wasn't it? Because, as I said, in the first 12 games, they won 7 and drew 1 of the first 8. And then lost 4 in the trot. So we didn't know what Reading were. But now, I think particularly with the attacking players they've got, and this game, no Lucas João and no Yaku Maite, who are decent, really, definitely sort of top 8 championship forward players, aren't they? They go and they get the win at QPR. There's a QPR team, fairly stayed that lineup, isn't it? Dieng, Kake, Dickey, Barbe, Hammerlinen. You try and say Kake, Dickey. There you go. Barbe. Cameron, Carroll, Willock, Chair, Samuel. So good bit of quality there with Chair and Samuel. Dykes up top. Is the Dykes experiment working? I don't know. A few calls in the Super Stream yesterday for Macaulay Bond to actually be starting there. Reading, again, super consistent with the system and particularly that double pivot there. We talked about the Swansea wing-backs. You can talk about the Reading double pivot there in the same way of Rinomhota and Laurent. They've had a super consistent season, those two, and Paunovic will pick them every game if they're fit now, won't he? So Rafael Estevez comes back in at right back. A bit of rotation between him and Holmes. Morrison, Moore, Richards, Rinomhota, Laurent. And then weakened up the top end, aren't they? Without João and Maite. So it is Ejaria, Semedo, Aluko comes in and Baldock starts up top. But they do still have Michael Elise on the bench, who's quite the player, isn't he, this season? Let's have a look at the pictures. I want to put this one up, not to annoy QPR fans, but this was like a minute before the goal for Reading. And the goal is in the 89th minute. You can see Ilias Chair moving away to his left, right on the edge of the penalty box. I think he thinks he's scored. He curls that around Raphael, hits the inside of the post and bounces out. And then a minute or 2 later, it's a brilliant goal from Elise. Look how far he is out as well. Cuts inside, left foot. Look at that. Who's that calling for the ball? 15. He's like, give it to me. Nope. I'm going to curl it into the far corner. It's a great goal by Michael Elise, who's 18, is he? He's a great player, isn't he? Really, going to be worth a hell of a lot of money. And we said it about championship clubs. You have to sell in the championship. So look, if that's the one they have to, take a huge bid from someone for, and that pays for the team going forward, then you just want those assets in the team and that choice to make. Let's have a look at the numbers. 54-46 possession. You'd expect that Warburton Paunovic. Look at that. Big chances. QPR 1, Reading 0. So they've gone there. It's a tight game and they've got the win. And that's what that's what they were doing in the run of 7 wins in the first 8. They were winning tight games. And, if you've got a solid system, you've got a good double pivot, a regular defence behind them, and you've got Elise, Zhao, Ejaria, who am I missing? Maite and Swift to come back at Christmas. Why not play like that? You've got the quality players to go and win you the game. Then do it. Why not? Hey, Reading in 5th, 10 wins in 18. Only Norwich have won more games than Reading this season. And we do have to remember as well, when we're talking about Reading, Paunovic has only been there for 18 games and they weren't very good the last 2 seasons. And he hasn't signed really. Josh Laurent, is that about it? He hasn't really signed anybody, has he? Estevez, the fullback. But these players were all there already. So I think you have to start saying, particularly if they stay in or around or even, top 10, it's a really good job by Paunovic so far. Let's have a look at your comments on here. Next 4, Reading play Brentford, Luton and Swansea. Form to drop with Maite and Zhao injured. Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Very unusually, everybody has played exactly the same number of home and away games. 9. And there you go. They've got it organised, haven't they? Reading have those injuries mentioned above and now face Norwich, Brentford in their next 4. Will slip out of a playoff. So could happen. Yeah, could happen. Difficult run. Clem says, and no Yidam, who leaves a big hole on the right side of defence. Very true. Maite, Zhao and Rich is out till January. That's not good news, is it? Not good news. Been impressed with Reading, started to go under the radar, but still picking up important points. Should have a playoff place come May if they keep it up. Yeah, well, we're going to find out over the next 4, if as a few people are saying in the comments, couple of difficult games to come up. But solid system, and they won without them today. And this is where, with respect to what Norwich have done, this is where if you lose key players in your Reading, or you lose 4 or 5 players in your Reading, with that squad, it will impact them more than Norwich losing their players with the squad they've got. But hey, it's horses for courses, and we'll see how Reading do going forward. Right. Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 3. Brentford's good unbeaten record continues. Forest keep losing. My God. Not good. Forest. Anyway, let's try and accentuate the positive and talk about Brentford first, because their fans will obviously be much, much happier. Get your comments here on Forest versus Brentford here. 3-1 to Brentford. There are your teams. Samba, Krissy, Figueiredo, Worrell, Ribeiro across the back for Forest. Yates, Arter, Cafu central. Lolly and Amiobi wide with Lyle Taylor up top. And again, look at bench as well. Umbe so expensive. Jenkinson experienced. Knockart's done it in the Championship before. So was really good last season. They're better than their position with those players, but said that before, haven't we? For Blackburn, I saw Raya and I just went Blackburn, didn't I? For Brentford, Raya in goal, Dalsgaard, Pinnock, Sørensen and Henry. And he's following the Ivic playbook there and rotating the centre halves there. Look, Pontus Jansson on the bench down there. Josh De Silva on the bench. Sergi Canos on the bench. Jensen, Yanel Marcondes across the middle. And Buemo, Tony and Fosu. We have a lot of conversations about no Ben Rama and is that as good as last season? Well, no, of course. You take Ben Rama out of any Championship team, it's probably worse, isn't it? However, you don't have to always play and win in the same way. And maybe with Tony, who's been so impressive, maybe they can do it a different way this season and go the one step further than the playoff final of last season. Get your comments in on this one, guys, in the comments. Here's the opener. Sorry, it's a bit blurry, that one. That's Henrik Dalsgaard on the near post. He's going to flick that from, the ball's coming from the left hand, so he's going to flick it into the far corner past Brice Samba. And Brentford do well on set plays, don't they? They're well coached, the old Brentford set plays. Dalsgaard, the captain, I think yesterday, gets the goal. Here's Josh De Silva, and he's got a really good left foot, and we've seen him score this goal or this type of goal several times over the last sort of 18 months, where he's on the edge of the box, engineers space, and his technique with the left foot's really good, De Silva, isn't it? He can always get that curving shot into the corner either side of the keeper. Good player, De Silva, and that one kills it off. This is a horrible goal, by the way. That ball has been hoofed up in the air, and Figueiredo and Samba are both waiting for each other, whilst the top scorer in the division now is running between them, and they criminally let that ball bounce. Ivan Toney obviously doesn't, and he slides and pounces on it and just sticks it in the net, symptomatic of a not very confident, incommunicative team there. But obviously this season, Toney will punish you. 15th goal of the season for Ivan Toney. What a really good player he is. I have to say, that's a great header by Joe Worrell. That's been curled in, I think, by Knockaert. And Worrell, proper old school centre-half, Terry Butcher, John Terry job there, bulleting that one into the far corner. Not much cop. And then it actually gets worse for Forest at the end. There is Knockaert. He's going down in the box. Is that Rico Henry behind him? I think it is. And he gets a second yellow. Give the referee credit. I don't know who it is, actually. Really good position to judge that one. And obviously, clearly thought that it was simulation. Second yellow for Knockaert. Red card. So he will miss the next game. Not that he started this one, but still, you don't want to be getting red cards even late in the game. Let's have a look at the numbers. Get your thoughts in on this one. Guys, 50-50 on the possession. 12 shots to 10 in Forest's favour. But they're always revealing, aren't they? Big chances. 0 to Forest, 2 to Brentford. And they churn out a nice 3-1 victory. I haven't got the stats to hand. I think Brentford might be either, someone can tell me in the comments, either 10, 11 unbeaten, possibly. I know they've had more draws than they would hope for, but they're now starting to move up the table. Yes, we still have that idea that, are they less balanced than last year up front with Ben Rama and Mbeumo? Yeah, they are, of course. And whether they do a final tweak, whether they need to, or whether they can rely more on Toney this season, we'll find out. But there's many ways to skin a cat, isn't there? And there's many ways to win a football match. So we'll see whether that ultimately matters. And it does seem to have affected Mbeumo slightly. His output's not quite where it was last season. But certainly, look, is it a drop-off from Watkins to Toney? Well, in terms of goals, no. But it's that rotation of the front three and what that's doing to Mbeumo that might be the issue. So, but they're finding a way now. They've only lost 3 games, Brentford. They're into the top 6. And we've talked about teams with a good pattern of play with the limited downtime and preparation time this season coming good. And it's working. And, hey, you always want a team with the top scorer in the division in, don't you? That's a way to win games, isn't it? Forest. I mean, we'll say the same thing about Pulis at Wednesday in a bit. Forest hired Houghton, and I look at his record and do all my research and look at the Forest squad, and I'm saying, well, Houghton's really good at this level and has been really successful. Forest have got good players. They're a big club. Ergo, they will start to move gradually up the table. But just not happening. And I know they've played sort of Reading, Norwich and Brentford in consecutive games, but they weren't winning the easier games either. So I don't know at what point I start to revise my opinion of, Forest are sure to gradually go up the table. If you're a Forest fan, you're probably not seeing any signs of it just yet. And they're still in 21st with 13 points from 18. Really, really poor almost half a season now for Forest. We'll be at the halfway mark in 5 games, won't we? So you'd still think that with the squad they've got and with Houghton there that they'll do it, but ain't happening yet. And I'm a man that looks for evidence on these things and not seeing it yet. Forest have some quality on paper. Your thoughts on recent form? Rubbish, rubbish, David. And as you've framed it well, good players on paper doesn't win you games, does it? So unbeaten in 11. Thank you, delayed pirate. Brentford look a lot better in defence, and with Toney, they'll win a lot of games 1-0, 2-0. The only team who can stop Norwich and Bournemouth. yeah, if indeed they can get close to them, if they're giving them too much of a head start. Houghton persisting with Yates will cost them. Ask any Forest fan. They'll tell you he's a League Two quality player. Don't know about that, but we'll see. Houghton certainly likes his runners, doesn't he? Brentford more effective on the road. Too many draws at home. Poor old Forest spent all that money. Could be in the bottom three come Wednesday night. Indeed, they could. Right. I think that will do us for those comments. Very, very quickly, we're halfway through the stream. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Really, really good time here on Sunday mornings. Please, down the bottom there, you can support via Super Chat. You can do that right now. Go ahead on Patreon. I'd love to do this full time, but I do need your help until we grow the subscriber base. And obviously, doing the championship. It's a little bit more niche, so I do rely on people's support on Patreon and Super Chat and the Teespring shop as well. But if you're here right now, please hit the thumbs up button, and as ever, get your comments in. That's the most important thing you can do. And head over and subscribe to the channel. Next one. Where did this come from? Rotherham 2, Bristol City 0. I saw Rotherham on Tuesday night at Watford. We've got I've got a good friend, Ian, who really gives a lot of insight on the channel on Rotherham. Very down in the dumps, saying, "Oh, is this Paul Warne? Where is this going now? He's been here ages. He's been relegated twice, promoted twice. Where's it going? Does it need a new, fresh impetus?" Some sense that he was really starting to come under pressure. And then they pull a first win in a while out of the hat there and win 2-0 over Bristol City. Who've been a good side this season, haven't they? Maybe punching, but Holden's certainly done a good job. They're in the top 6 going into this game, weren't they? Get your comments in. Rotherham 2, Bristol City 0. Blackman is dropped, which... and Johansson comes in goal. When I'm looking for managers running out of ideas and I see the goalkeeper change, that's always, I always find that worrying, I have to say, because it always looks like the last ramblings of a mad king, doesn't it, sometimes? But, hey, they got the win. Ihekwa, Wood, McDonald, Olasunde, Wiles filling in at left wing back there, a central midfielder. Crooks, Lindsay, Barlassa, Smith and Vassell up top for Rotherham. For Bristol City, Bentley, Hunt, Viner, Callis, Rowe, Backinson, Narge, O'Dowda. It's unchanged from the watch long we did on Wednesday night against Blackburn. Wells, Martin, Semenyo up top. Let's have a look at the 2 goals, which came as no surprise. Name that tune. Came as no surprise, came from crosses. This one in from the right-hand side. Was that Olasunde? Someone will correct me. What was that free kick? I think maybe the second one was Olasunde. And it is headed in there, centre of the goal. Who scored that goal? I can't make. Who scored the first Rotherham goal? Deary me. Matt Crooks. There you go. I couldn't quite make him out in the middle there. Excuse me. That is Matt Crooks. Kind of crouches, a tall bloke, crouching to head of that one in. And they get the second there. Michael Smith. That was Olasunde who crossed that in from the right-hand side. So 2-0, and the way it's gone this season for Rotherham, they've conceded points late on and conceded goals late on. But no, Krissy comfortable in this one. And is that a new impetus for Paul Warne? Look at the numbers, for goodness sake. This doesn't look like the Rotherham the past few weeks, does it? 22 shots, 3 big chances, only conceded 2 shots on target and no big chance of Bristol City. So either... and maybe people who watched it can tell me in the chat, either Bristol City were absolutely hopeless in this game, or Rotherham have maybe turned a corner and there's something to build on there. I don't know. You Rotherham and Bristol City fans, let me know in the chat. It was a great day for Rotherham yesterday because look below them, nobody won and nobody's been winning down there. And when my team Ipswich were down the bottom of the table in 18-19, and I really was tracking the bottom of the table. It was rubbish down there. It was Ipswich, Bolton and Rotherham that ended up going down. I think Reading and then Millwall, and no one was winning. And I would sit there thinking, all anyone has to do is win a game and draw a game back to back. That's all they have to do, and they'll jump up the jump up the table. And you can see nobody's doing that. You've got Derby have got 1 win in those last 5, and Rotherham have got 1 win. But then all of the other 3, as SofaScore decides to annoyingly refresh itself at a completely inopportune moment there, all of the other 3 teams down there just haven't won a game in the last 5, have they? So a good day for Rotherham and a 3-point gap. I know it's still teetering there. And at the moment, the bottom 6 now, and we'll talk about, well, we have spoken about QPR. Although I did focus that mainly on Reading, didn't I? So I apologise. But QPR are now part of that bottom 6. They've swapped places with Coventry, haven't they? So if you're one of the teams down the bottom, you'll want it to be as big as possible. You want a bottom 8, a bottom 9, as many teams that you can possibly get above as you can. So, get your thoughts in. Bristol City and Rotherham. Sorry, I should just do a bit on Bristol City. Just drop out of the top 6. And as I said, are we getting the order at the top there? You'd still fancy a Stoke maybe with their squad to get in. We'll talk about them. But I think Holden has them doing well to be in 7th, I have to say, especially when all 3 of the relegated, the Parachute Cartel, are performing well and performing competently. You know, that makes it hard to get in the top 6 this season. So let's have a look at your thoughts in this one. Rotherham v Derby next Saturday. Woo! And the last one before the week off as well. It will come to Derby in a second. Crooks wears 25, as does Holmes. They're best friends. Oh, Judd. Oh, sad. Oh, sorry. I thought he was talking about some best friends thing, but sad one. Yeah, that. David Bowie, Starman. Oh, David's got it. Man Who Sold the World there. That was the name, the tune. Chris says, shock result of the day. Defied all logic. Bristol City are better away than at home. Crooks, thank you, Iron Player. I got it in the end, didn't I? Proper championship result, this one. Hansen has played 2 games and both of them he won. Oh, there you go. Keep him in. In football, we trust. I think Bristol City will have a good season, push for the top 6, but just missing out. That is where they are at the moment. Right. Shall we move on? I should. It's really pouring with rain. Can you hear that coming down the microphone? Horrible day here in Bedfordshire. Right. Derby 0, Stoke 0, which is good because I've already mentioned both of those 2 teams. And there is the lineups from yesterday. Get your comments in on this one. Derby 0, Stoke 0. As was pointed out, Derby are 5 unbeaten now under Rooney and Rossini, and a definite attempt. I'm sure Steve McLaren had something to do with this as well. After that Middlesbrough game, a definite switch. More experienced players came in, even, more physically strong players came in for a couple of games. They went completely back to basics. I think there was 0-0s in there, but they've got it moving and they became a little bit harder to beat, didn't they? And decent management, that whoever it came from, Rossini, Rooney or McLaren, or a combination of the 3 of them. And this is what they've come up with there. Marshall, Byrne, Wisdom, Davis is out, isn't he? Clark and Buchanan, Bird and Bielik. Is that a coincidence that Bielik returns and the form improves? He was the big signing last season that suffered from that bad injury. Josviak, Lawrence and Knight with Kazim Richards, who again, obviously you wouldn't want your chief number 9 to be an aging Colin Kazim Richards, but he's got physicality, he's got experience, and that's possibly what they were lacking. Stoke do not lack physicality and experience for sure, do they? Bursick, Collins, Suter, Chester, Fox, Cousins and Thompson, Brown, Powell, Timon and Stephen Fletcher up top. I think, have I got a clip from this one or a screenshot from this one? Yeah, just the one. This is Colin Kazim Richards going around Bursick in goal. And if he just can lift that, he's either going to get a handball and it'll be a red card for Chester, won't it, for the obvious goal scoring opportunity, or he's going to score. He puts it along the ground. Chester makes a really good clearance there. So that's probably the best opening I saw in the highlights package I watched. Do let me know if you think differently. That is allowed. There are the numbers you would expect the possession to be that way in a Derby versus Stoke game, 61 to Derby. 11 shots to 4 in Derby's favour, 8 corners to 3, 1 big chance to 0. That is a sustainable performance from Derby, isn't it? And even if it's a small trend, there's a definite trend upwards for the Rams. Obviously, they were way below where they should be in the table, but moving in the right direction. And, if you were Forest or Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, you'd want this small trend. And remember, Stoke, whether you agree with me or not, I think they're going to be, I've predicted them to be in the top 6 and a high-quality squad and a clever, experienced manager. So I think that's a good result, that one for Derby. And if there was going to be a winner, the numbers say it possibly was going to be Derby. Get your comments in. There is the league table. So, to my point earlier, though, unbeaten, strangely, doesn't stop you getting relegated. Wins stop you getting relegated. And Derby have only got 2 wins this season. Yes, it is an improvement. It's still not good enough. And 8 goals in 18 games is just so bad. It's not true. So they need goals and they need wins. If that's not stating the bleeding obvious, but you know what I'm saying. So unbeaten is good. This is the foundations, but they now need to, and whether that's a striker coming in January, whether that's promoting Stretton or going with Waghorn or I don't know. They need goals and wins to move away from the bottom because, yes, 5 unbeaten there. That is 6 points in the last 5. That will get you away from the bottom of the table slowly, but they're coming from such a position behind that to hit that sort of 1 point per game that, well, this season you might not need 1 point per game. Last season it was over, wasn't it? Charlton relegated with 49. This season it might be more like 39 sees you relegated rather than 49. So we'll see, but definitely some good signs there. Stoke are grinding, aren't they? They're churning along. They're in 8th. My suggestion all season is that Stoke will continue to churn and others will fall away and they'll end up in the top 6. 29 points from 18. They probably need to improve on that in the next 18 games, don't they? But only 5 defeats. They're hard to play against. They're there or thereabouts. And it only takes, you know what the Championship like? Only takes 7 points in a 3-game week and up the table you go, don't you? So let's have a look at some of your comments in this one. Only 20 years old. Tyrese Campbell becoming a great player for Stoke. Isn't he? Bielik, great player, loves to tackle, but great on the ball. Derby should build a team around him. And young as well. No age. Bielik, Rooney has shored things up and may well get the job, but still no home wins and still not scoring. Stoke will push on when their injuries clean up. 3 clean sheets in a row. We've not done that for 15 seasons. That's sensational. Deary me. Rooney was not happy. Interesting. Good. Setting the standards then, isn't he? Restricted Stoke to 0.14 XG and literally nothing. I'm not aware of any penalty decisions, so I won't comment on that. Stoke will still win games with 0.14 XG, won't they? Let's have a look. Stoke look good, and I'm new. Come on, Reading. Welcome. Cool here. And yes, Derby unbeaten in 5, of course. You stole my thunder there, and we will give them credit for that. Right. Let's move on to Borough 3, Millwall 0. An outcome, all the knives for Gary Rowett. We need to give Millwall some credit, but there is a developing story. We need to give Warnock and Borough some credit, but there is a developing story here with Millwall, who are in horrible form. If anyone can give me the stats in the comments about Millwall's probably last 10 or 11 games now, since they won at Preston, didn't they? I don't think they've won a game since then, and it must be 8, 9, 10, 11 games since then. Anyone let me know in the comments. That would be great. But they're in horrible form and they are sliding down the table are Millwall. Warnock comes back from a couple of, was it straight defeats? We'll have a look at the table in a minute and the form. Anyway, this one ended 3-0, and it was 3-0 in 20 minutes. So an early collapso here from the Lions. And yeah, really, really bad form. Any stats on that or any reasons why, do let me know in the comments where Millwall go, because they're without goals, they're without wins, and they are sliding their way down the table, aren't they? There's your two teams. Borough, Bettinelli in goal, Jug Steele, Fry, McNair, Boller, Tavernier, Saville, Morsey, Johnson, Akpom, and Watmore. Watmore with 2 goals. I said this weeks ago, is this going to be a Warnock special, this one? Taking Watmore, rehabilitating him. Obviously was a very promising young player, and getting a season out of him, and that's happening now. Millwall, well, Bart in goal, Hutchison, Pearce, Cooper, Romeo, Malone. It's the system that worked in the past that is not working anymore. Leonard and Woods, and the trio up top is Wallace, Bennett, and Parrott, and this is not working at all at the moment for Millwall, is it? Let's have a look at the stills here on this one. And I have to say, whenever I maybe I've been a bit hard on old Warnock here, but I see some of the Borough goals, and I'm kind of surprised that, knocking it quickly around, overlapping wide players, and a low ball across into the box, and Watmore puts it home. I don't know. I think I just got so used to Warnock's Cardiff, where you just knew it was a throw-in or a corner, literally every goal. But Borough look a little bit different than that, don't they? Lovely goal is from Tavernier, coming in off the right-hand side, curls that to Białkowski's right into the corner. Here is Watmore with the third. I think, was that a parry and a reply pass? I can't quite remember the goal. That is Watmore putting in his second after only 20 minutes. Get your comments in on this one. We'll have a look at the numbers, if I do my scroll correctly. Yeah, heavily in Borough's favour. I mean, go straight to 4 big chances to 1, always revealing, as I always say. But 16 shots to 4, only 1 shot on target for Millwall in this game. And we all know if you don't score that shot, you will not win. Fairly basic logic there. 7 corners to 0. Looks like a bit of a pasting, and I suspect playing against Warnock for 70 minutes at 3-0 is not fun, because he would just have you sit in and just wait for a mistake to punish. If we look at the table, not good reading for Millwall, who we were all expecting after last season. It finished 8th last season. Right, can they now move on? They didn't sell anyone. They didn't sell Wallace. They didn't sell Cooper. Tried to add people. Thought Zahor was ambitious, and it's not working. It's not working at all. And if you look now, we spoke about QPR replacing Coventry in the bottom 6. We've referred to Coventry as a bottom 6 team now for weeks and weeks and weeks because they've been in the bottom 6. They're now level on points with Millwall. So essentially, Coventry, who we referred to as a bottom 6 team, rightly, for weeks and weeks because they were in the bottom 6, and Millwall we were referring to as a possible, definitely second quartile team, are now perfectly level on points on 21 there. So Millwall have still only lost 5 games, but as we said when we're talking about Derby, it doesn't matter, does it? You've got to get some wins at some point, and the season is slipping away from Rowett. For those people who still think that they can challenge for playoffs, well, they're 10 points off now at game 18. So, we've seen some strange charges to the playoffs. The most recent one was Aston Villa, but that involved having Jack Grealish, John McGinn, Tammy Abraham, and Tyrone Mings in the team in the Championship. So, let's have a look at your comments on this one and on the state of Millwall at the moment. We do need to give credit to Borough, though. Obviously, it's easy to get dragged into what we think is the bigger story here. Confidence-related problems. They've lacked a proper striker. Rowett hasn't turned into a bad manager overnight, although 9 draws don't do much in the table. No, they do not. I don't like Warnock, but give him credit. He's doing a good job. Absolutely. as everyone said, no win in 10, is it? Okay, failed to score in 5 of them. Credit to Warnock, Borough strong at home, but it was a woeful half as a sin from Millwall in 40 years of watching. 6 points from the last 30. Ouch. Rowett out. Up the Borough. Why does Rowett always one good, then one bad season? That sounds like me at 10-pin bowling. You know, you always have to buy two games of bowling, don't you? I always have one good one and one bad one, and I never know whether the first one's going to be good and the second one bad, or vice versa. So, yeah. In the last 10 game in form table, Millwall were last without a win. Not good. If you want a stat for Borough yesterday, Watmore has now scored 4 goals in 6 matches, and Gestead only managed 3 goals in 4 years. I love that stat. Great content. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Harry says, Millwall winless in 10. Coincided with, I don't know what that means. Callum Davidson went to St Johnstone. What, is he a coach? That's interesting. I didn't know about that. Oh, tell me, Harry, what job Callum Davidson has or had. Rowett's biggest problem is no plan B. Will assist with same tactics and same players. Yeah, I always find this, Lewis, with these pragmatic managers. When you do stop scoring, and I mean, again, I'm stating the bleeding obvious, but if you're predicated on being tight and taking your chances, if you don't take your chances, that plan is screwed, isn't it? Whereas if you're predicated on create chances, then, you know, Warnock sounded like a different person. We knew it'd be a tough game, but I thought we adapted. I wanted them to play on the front foot. One-touch football if they could, especially in their half. Wow. Imagine he changes into Pep in the later years here. I'm struggling to see any of the bottom half making a run for the playoffs at this stage. It's very rare, isn't it? I think it's a bit of a myth, the whole run into the playoffs. Only I'll do some research on it, but generally speaking, those who are up there for most of the season, aren't they? Davidson was coach number 2, always interesting. Okay, didn't know that. Did not know that at all. Right, 3 to go, guys. Luton 3, Preston 0. Am I allowed to say, who's it? Alistair, who's always in the chat, mocks me for calling Preston erratic. But another erratic result for Preston, who win and then lose and then win and then lose. But great result for Luton. Let's bring that up on the old split screen. 7 points in 4 for Luton. And they're trucking on very, very nicely. Big picture, aren't they? Luton, Shea in goal, Pearson, Lockyer, Bradley, Potts across the back. And Panzu, Ray, Dewsbury Hall, Cornick, Moncur, and a hat-trick. We got to give him performance of the week, probably before we even get there, for James Collins there. Brilliant stuff there. I wondered, Jamal Lowe got 2, didn't he? Dom Solanke got 2, Tamu Pukki got 2, but Collins gets the hat-trick in this one. For Preston, Rudd in goal, Fisher, Huntington, Davis, Hughes, Brown and Ledson. I think Pearson's out for a while again now, isn't he? Barkhausen, Hazen, Potts and Sinclair, who's been playing well. Stockley gets the go ahead of Reese up the top there. Here are the goals, and Collins is getting all 3. I don't know who it was who got sucked underneath the ball for this, but it was a diagonal from Pelly Ruddock all the way over the top, and Collins takes it down really, really well. It's either, I mean, you tell me, is your glass half full? It's either a very good pass by Mpanzu, or the defender, take a step. Look, it's James Collins. He's good. Take a step back and mark him, get sucked underneath. I couldn't get a better screenshot of that. The ball is in a blur in the middle. James Collins is heading it in from literally 1 yard. That's been recycled by Glenn Ray, who's on the right-hand side of the picture. And Luton 2 up from the set play. Really nice hat-trick goal, though, here. Just shifts himself around. Who is it? I can't tell. I can't tell who's marking him there. I can't even read his number, for goodness sakes. But anyway, sticks it in, right-footed Collins for the hat-trick. Great job by him. And I say about James Collins, we talk about Championship strikers and everyone goes Armstrong, Tony, Pukki, or, what have you. But James Collins is now that he's an international for Republic of Ireland. He scored a ton of goals in League One, didn't he? So if someone can correct me in the comments, I don't know how many did he get last season, but he must now be going into that bracket. And Luton have done well at selling players at good prices, especially with Jack Stacey and James Justin. They got good money for their superb fullbacks in the League One season, didn't they? I think Collins is a highly valued Championship striker now, isn't he? Okay, others are worth more. Obviously, you're in a league with Ismail Assar and David Brooks and Josh King and Emi Buendia. Not all strikers, but I wonder whether people will start looking at Collins as I want a Championship goal scorer. For example, if one of those players at one of those Year One parachute clubs gets sold in January, I wonder if he's a player they'd start to look at if Blackburn are going to ask for sort of 25 million for Armstrong or something of that nature. Let's have a look at the table. And that tells us that Luton, who, yes, I do have a bit of a soft spot for because I live down here, but they're doing a great job, aren't they? 11th spot, 7 wins. Obviously, without patronising Luton, I will say 13 points clear of the relegation zone. Remember, it was only that good run at the end of the season as the tide rose for everybody under Nathan Jones that got them away. But they're doing a really, really nice job. Can they stay in the Championship and get that new stadium built? And then you start thinking a little bit further on, don't you? But good job. Preston, who knows what you're going to get? Are you going to get a 4-2 win at Brentford or an away win at Bournemouth? Or are you going to get hammered 3-0 by Luton? I don't know with Preston. They confuse me greatly. Maybe you can enlighten me in the comments, guys. Luton 3, Preston 0. Let's see what you are saying. Championship is a strange league. You said it. Preston destroyed Borough on Wednesday, then get hammered off Luton. Fans could have played a part. Maybe too. Read Alan Brown comments from, or read Alan Brown comments. What did he say, Alistair? Brutal and honest, and wondering if 2,000 fans in compact stadiums is worth more than 2,000 in a larger one. Then again, it didn't work for QPR. All sorts of theories, isn't it? 25 goals in 44 for Collins in League One, 6 in 15 so far this season. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. And remember, he's playing for Luton. He's not getting 10 chances a game like you might get at Brentford or Norwich or Blackburn, maybe. Come on, you Hatters, says Chris. Theories abound on this one. Dasher says, great performance by Luton. Big few months for Luton. A lot of players out of contract. Oh, including Collins, Pelly, Ruddock and Bradley. Right. So their lawyers and agents need to be very busy prior to January, don't they? There you go. His glass is half full, James. Blinding ball from Mpanzu there. Luton shouldn't have a problem now unless they become Hull. Yeah, I just feel that that they won't, because Hull was so reliant on Bowen and Grzycki, weren't they? They were so obviously their best players. Whereas Luton, there feels more of a balance to their squad than there was at Hull, where it was, just blindingly obvious what would happen when, if and when Bowen and Grzycki went, and if they went at the same time. Right, 2 to go. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Barnsley 2. I don't know. You tell me what's the biggest. I'll get in trouble for focusing it on Sheffield Wednesday, but we know Barnsley are, a decent side capable of winning, and I do think the biggest story is just how hopeless Sheffield Wednesday still are. Their results are, and I'll say the same things I said about Chris Hughton. That they brought Pulis in, and I did exactly the same thing. Look, less good players at Wednesday than there are at Forest. I think it would be fair to say. But Pulis, still, you look at his record and his experience and you think, oh, well, okay, they'll be all right. He'll get them away from the bottom of the table. It is not happening. And he hasn't won a game yet, Pulis, has he? At least they didn't get a red card in this one, but they did take the lead and they still went under to Barnsley. There's your Wednesday team there. Wildsmith, Odebajo, Lees, Dunkley, Van Aken, Iorfa and Bannon. I'm not sure Iorfa played in midfield. Did he? Someone let me know in the chat. Reach, Patterson, Harris and Windass up top. Barnsley as steady and solid as the day is long, aren't they? Jaume's played the last couple of games over Hellick. I wonder whether he stays in the team now. I don't know. Walton, Solbauer, Jaume, Anderson, Styles and Britton. James's partner in Mo. I think Herbie Kane played a couple of games, didn't he? Freeser comes in with Chaplin and Woodrow. They're nice and stable and solid, and they know how to win games, Barnsley, don't they? When we look at the table, you'll see plenty of wins for Valérien Ismaël since he arrived. I'm sure probably 6 maybe wins already for him. Look, I like Barnsley on here. I like a few of their players, especially Styles and Mowat and Chaplin and Woodrow. I like lots of their players. Anyway, I didn't like what Walton did here because the ball goes straight down the middle, I think, from Bannon. Walton comes out. I think he was aware he was right at the edge of his area, and if Windass knocked it past him and he touched him, the narrative changes when you leave your area, doesn't it now? Because you know you're going to get away with the yellow card if you can make it clear to the ref you made a deliberate attempt to play the ball. And I think we saw this with Mendy in the Chelsea game against Leeds, where he literally comes out but then stops and lets Pat Bamford go around him. I think with that law change, goalkeeper coaches are telling players, come to the edge of the box, don't come out, because you probably won't get sent off if you don't. So maybe a touch of that, but through goes Windass, sticks it into the empty net, and you think, okay, now Pulis, clean sheet, win, off goes Sheffield Wednesday. No, and not only that, a really straightforward set play, this one, and Pulis will be furious about this because, forgive me, is that Patterson marking? I can't tell. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I don't know who's marking Woodrow there, but it gets flicked on at the near post, and the Sheffield Wednesday player's goal side, and Woodrow just makes a really straightforward run in front of him and heads it in from 2 yards. A bit of a rubbish goal marking-wise, but Barnsley will take it. And the second Barnsley goal was by no means rubbish. It was absolutely superb, actually. The still doesn't do it justice. That is Freeser going in, and I think he nutmegs Wildsmith in the end. But this is a brilliant goal. It comes from the right. I think it's Styles, plays it across laterally. Then Chaplin, first time, clips it over the top. Really pacey ball he's receiving. It's a great pass by Chaplin over the top. Freeser makes the third man run. His first touch is brilliant, brings it down and then sticks it through the keeper's legs. Go out of your way to see that goal. It's a really good goal by Barnsley, and bear that in mind when we do goal of the week in a few minutes. And Barnsley go on to get the win, 2-1 in this one. Let's have a look at the numbers. And yeah, they just don't make good reading for Wednesday, do they? 3 big chances to 1 in Barnsley's favour is always revealing. 4 shots on target to 3. So, okay, Barnsley were quite clinical, but their chance quality appears to have been better than what Wednesday managed to create. And particularly the big chance is obviously the Windass one for Wednesday. Obviously, then nothing else in the other 86 minutes in terms of big chances. And if we look at the table, Barnsley, again, despite there being a 4-0 home defeat in there, they're on a run of 3 wins in 4. So I think if you're a Barnsley fan and you accept the pattern of play and you accept that if you do that against Bournemouth, you might get hammered in the same way Huddersfield did. But it does seem, if you do that against Sheffield Wednesday or the bottom half teams, that Barnsley will win games, and they are winning games. They've got 7 wins. And I don't think they'd won a game under Struber before he went. So I think all of those wins are under Ismaël. So, Barnsley are doing what I expected them to do and being competitive. Let's just see if they sell anyone in January. And Sheffield Wednesday, it's not working. So again, like I said about Forest down there, Derby to a lesser extent, these 3 big clubs down the bottom of there need to win some games. And yes, in deference to Derby's unbeaten record, but it's certainly not happening for Wednesday or Forest at the moment. And you don't expect a big club to be relegated from the Championship, but go figure. Forest have been down there. Wednesday have been down there. Leeds have been down there. Sunderland, Ipswich, Pompey are all down there at the moment. So, you don't win games, you don't score points, down you go. And Pulis needs to do that. Anthony hoping for mid-table for Barnsley shouldn't it? Reach, Lee's and Bannon's contracts up soon as well. Iorfa out for the season, isn't he? Oh dear. We are doomed to Division 1, mate, says Tony on Twitter. I think Barnsley should have won by more. Welcome along, Adam. We are all good this end. Like Houghton, Pulis was wrong type of manager required. I think there are bigger problems with squad makeup at Wednesday and Forest. Next two against Forest and Coventry. Goodness me. United and Wednesday sharing this. Not good in Sheffield at the moment, is it? Wednesday are in trouble. 7 points behind Rotherham. Can't score, and with the Championship being more pragmatic, Pulis has lost his edge. That's a good point. When you have all of these managers, and we've pointed them out, there's going to be a lot of draws, and you need wins to get out of the bottom there, doesn't it? This shows clearly it was the wrong time to sack Monk when the team were 4 points from 2 games and off the bottom. Now they're back there. You may be right. You may turn out to be right with that. Interesting. Nat says, I've given up on promotion. I'll settle for the playoffs. Iorfa out for the rest of the season. Lee's, Reach and Bannon out of contract soon. And yes, Iorfa was in midfield. Goodness me. Anthony watched. Wednesday looked like they had no confidence. Alex says, horrific from us again, Ben. There's no spine to our players. They just don't care. Never seen a group of players who fans care so little about. Oh, dear. This doesn't smell good, does it? It really doesn't smell good. And, yeah. Oh, well, let's say no more. Say no more. And we'll do Wycombe Coventry, because I'm sure Wednesday and Forest fans particularly will be looking at Coventry's recent form and be thinking, why can't we be doing that? And Coventry aren't pragmatic. Coventry play through the thirds and, get people forward and progress the ball. And it's working a lot better. Okay, fixtures opened out for them a little bit, but Coventry win again. This is our last one before we go to team of the week and top scorers and goal of the week and all of that good stuff. Well done, Coventry. I don't know if anyone can get the stats for me. That must be unbeaten in 6 or 7, and it's probably sort of, I'm guessing 3 wins and 4 draws in the last 7, which would be 13 points or thereabouts. They're in really, really nice form, aren't they? Cov, which we did expect when we looked at the fixtures. And there is evidence I said that on my will your team be trending up or down when it comes to Christmas. And I look forward to correctly reviewing the Coventry prediction, given the other ones I probably got wrong. Let's have a look here. Allsop, this is the Wycombe team. Grimmer, Knight, McCarthy, Jacobson, Gape, Bloomfield, Patterson, Onyedinma, Samuel and Horgan. Little less attacking than we've seen from Wycombe in the past couple of games, where we sort of saw McClary in there. It was like they're playing 5 dribblers up top, wasn't it? For Coventry, and I said this about Coventry, if they're going to stay, if they're going to do well, it will be consistency of selection and pattern of play, and they're picking up points against teams where they're expected to do okay. And that's all you need to do. That makes you a 3rd quartile team, doesn't it? Which you can build on, doesn't it? If you're in the 3rd quartile, you probably lose to the top half, but you probably beat the bottom 6 and you'll be fine. And some of those around you. So that's how league tables work. And I'm sure you all don't need telling that. Wilson in goal, Ostergaard, McFadzean and Hyam, Darbo and McCallum wing backs. Kelly and Sheaf. So Gus Hamer doesn't start this one, but he's going to come on 31 minutes. Shipley, O'Hare, Walker up top. I think Godden is out for a while now, so they've had to reconfigure. Correct me if I'm wrong about that in the chat. Up top. Here is the opening goal. Nice goal, that. Liam Kelly, firm right footer. Yes, big gap to Allsop's left, but it's a good, Allsop's right, but it's a good finish. Here's the second. Ainsworth will be annoyed with this because that's been headed across and in then by Liam Kelly again. Here is the penalty. And I said earlier about making a challenge. You barely even need to make the challenge now. Again, that's Sheaf. Wheeler's got across him. exploits the contact, let's just say, and goes down. It's penalty. And Jacobson is very, very good from the spot. I know I'll get asked about this. So this is Gus Hamer from literally 2 yards into the other half. And he hits the outside of the post there. I think a lot of people would have been pleased to see that one go in, a halfway line goal. I wanted to put this one up. This is a disallowed goal at the end of the game by Kashket. Have a look at the linesman. And we don't have a better angle, I have to say. Have a look at the last Cov defender there and have a look at Kashket. Also, have a look at the line of the turf. They normally do them in 6-yard blocks. So it's pretty much, and then look at the penalty spot. I'm not sure Kashket is offside there. I think they might have got that one wrong. You let me know your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, the shot is parried. Kashket puts it in and it gets disallowed. So maybe Wycombe were a little bit unlucky with that one. But again, I haven't seen a clear angle from the side. That said, Coventry in excellent form, and they're now not part of the bottom 6, are they? There are your numbers, and Wycombe will be annoyed with this one. Look, tight game. 2 big chances to Wycombe, 1 to Coventry, 11 shots to 9, 3 on target apiece, 4 corners apiece. This has the air of a fairly tight game that Coventry took their chances in and finished well, and Wycombe will feel that they should have probably got something out of it. So Wycombe still competitive, but as we said, with 4 of those teams in the bottom 6 just not winning any games, are they? I mean, look, between them, Wednesday, Wycombe, Derby and Forest have 10 wins. That's the same as Reading. Do you know what I mean? So just a low tide down the bottom. We've spoken about it a bit. Coventry, this sort of a run is the sort of run that can keep you away. And in a season like this, when no one's scoring any points, it takes a bad team a long time, and it's an 8-point gap to claw back an 8-point gap, put it that way, unless we see a mad run where complete outlier form, and I don't know, does the Derby win 5 straight games or win 4 and draw 1 in 5? Unless we see that, Coventry have given themselves a nice looking cushion. Wycombe, as I say, 1 point in the last 4. They're going under in tight games despite being competitive and not getting victories. Let's have a look at your comments. Coventry getting results unlike Forest and Wednesday with a much better playing style. Maybe the Championship has moved on from pragmatic equals promotion. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Godden has a problem, means he'll be out for another 1 to 2 months. Oh, okay, thank you, Nathan. But plenty of, with Biamu and Walker and Shipley and O'Hare, they've got options up the top there, haven't they? Coventry pick up their first away win. Rotherham also got their first away win at Adams Park. Wycombe are doomed. Coventry 3 wins and 4 draws in the last 7. Okay, yeah. In the XG table, Coventry are credited with no wins, are they? There you go. That's one in the eye for all you XG lovers. Ben says, let's face it, we've got a League One side in the Championship and haven't got enough quality. And now Coventry have beaten us every time in the last 10 games. Don't worry, Ben. It was going to be this way for Wycombe, wasn't it? Be competitive, get as close as you can. And believe me, you would rather it was this season Wycombe were in the Championship than last season, where it was 49 points and you were still relegated. So they've got a chance, haven't they? They have got a chance. Where are we looking here? Honestly, I think Coventry will sweep the floor with us just before Christmas. Remind me of a slightly worse Blackburn. Energetic and a lot of desire. Huddersfield on Wednesday, the next 2 for Coventry. Interesting. We did like their fixtures, didn't we? Only thing I can complain about is the amount of penalties Coventry have conceded. 7th of the 6th or 7th of the season. Other than that, 7 unbeaten is really good form, isn't it? Let's have a look. Where am I going? I wanted to read this one. Eli said very late today, just watched what you had to say about Barnsley. I don't think we will sell in January. Ishmael said yesterday we have the money to add. There we go. We've heard that from Barnsley before, though, Eli, and they get a good offer and they sell, don't they? But as I say, Championship clubs, particularly someone like a Barnsley who's got good players and somewhere around the middle, shouldn't be scared of selling. They really, really shouldn't, because they can reinvest it well, evidently. Wycombe are shaking in their boots, facing Bournemouth Tuesday night. They're probably going to beat them now, won't they? Given all we've said today. Right. Let's just wrap up now. God, I've gone long, 90 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined me. We're just going to do top scorers. We're going to do team of the week, and we're going to do goal of the week. So let's just go to the split screen and your top scorers. Once I've pressed a couple of buttons, trying to navigate SofaScore. We'll show you some more as well. Ivan Toney is bossing it with 15 goals in 18 rounds. Armstrong 14, Zhao 11. Look at Pookie coming up on the rails there on 9. Moore is injured. Solanke is coming up on the rails. Ayew does a great job. And there's Woodrow for Barnsley. We're mentioning Karoma injured now. Look out for Tyrese Campbell as well. Collins with the hat-trick moves on to 6 as well. So that race hotting up a little bit. Maybe we'll get Pookie and Solanke join those 3 up at the top and make it a 5-way shootout. Team of the week then, guys. Get your thoughts in. Let's focus on the winners. So Norwich winning away at Blackburn. Bournemouth a 5-0 victory. They've got to be in with a shout. Swansea going away to Cardiff and getting the win. Watford going away to Birmingham. Reading doing it with the injured players as well. Brentford winning at Forest. Rotherham surely have got to be in with a shout. A rare win for them. Borough 3-0 over Millwall, although Millwall are slipping. Luton, they've got to be in with a shout. 3-0 over Preston. Coventry keep it up in a tight game. Barnsley. Do you know, I think I'm somewhere between Bournemouth and Luton. Bournemouth's performance was excellent, wasn't it? And 5-0, and the goals they scored were really good. Luton doing for Preston. Let's have a look. What are you guys saying here? Nat says Luton, and it says Bournemouth, Luton, Rotherham, Bournemouth. Alex says, was having a long heated debate. Who do you think is better, Pookie or Mitrovic? I could do a whole video on that. They both have very, very different strengths. Mitrovic and Pookie both vitally important to their teams, though probably Mitrovic more important to Fulham than even Pookie is to Norwich. But there we go. Rotherham team of the week. Barnsley and Barnsley. There we go. People do side with their own teams, though, don't they? I do have to say. Right, goal of the week. I put a poll up on this. Should we quickly see what the poll is saying for my goal of the week? If I can quickly screenshot it. I've got 45 votes. It will give us a bit of an idea of what people are saying. Bear with me one sec, guys. Have a think about your goal of the week. And I'm going to throw up that screenshot really quickly. And by the wonders of modern technology, there you go. So I was between Stanislas, Jamal Lowe, Elise for Reading and Frieser for Barnsley, with honourable mentions to Harvey Elliott and David Brooks. Some really, really good goals. So remember, Elliott with the dribble and I think the nutmeg on Grant Hanley. David Brooks, curler with the left foot. Stanislas, brilliant dribble. Lowe, great goal for Swansea, rolling his foot over it outside of the foot. Elise, long ranger. And Frieser for Barnsley, the passing move. I think you know that I'm going to go for Frieser on that one. Just that's the most nicely constructed goal. And that's always what I tend to go for over long ranges. Sometimes with long range goals, if there's not placement, it is, just a pro footballer doing something that they've practiced a million times. Whereas the off the cuff nature, especially with Chapman's pass and Frieser's first touch. So I'll go for Frieser for Barnsley. Let's see what you're saying for goal of the week. What do we got here? Jamal Lowe, Elise close second. Stanislas, Barnsley. Sophie says, as a Norwich fan, Harvey Elliott's goal against her team there. So we do have self-aware football fans here. Frieser against us. Lowe. Windass. There we go, Ben. Long ball from Anderson across the pitch, taken down by Britton on the right-hand side. Yeah, it was a great goal, wasn't it? And everyone is obviously entitled to their opinions. Right. let's have one last look at the table, and then I will leave you all to your day. But I have really, really appreciated this and all of your support. If you're still in the chat, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. So there is our table. Norwich, brilliant. 2 points per game, over 2 points per game now. 3 points clear. Bournemouth in a good groove there. 5-0 wins and 4-0 wins in the last 3 games. Swansea, Watford, Reading and Brentford make up the top 6. The next 4 are Bristol City, Stoke, Borough and Cardiff. Borough the only winners in that little bunch. Luton moving to the top half above Blackburn, who lose. And then Barnsley trending upwards, 3 wins in 4. Huddersfield, big defeat, but big picture still looking good. Preston all over the place, erratic. Birmingham, well, still got 2 wins in the last 3. Millwall trending badly downwards, probably the worst trend in the division there for Millwall in terms of dropping places. Coventry very much trending upwards and out of the bottom 6. They replace QPR, who go down into the bottom 6 there. 1 point from the last 5 games for Rangers is a developing story. Pressure on Warburton. A Rotherham win out of nowhere. RKO out of nowhere. There you go. Forest, hopeless form at the moment. Derby, decent, trending upwards, but slowly. They need wins to add to their newfound solidity. Wycombe and Wednesday on 9 and 11 points from 18 games. Yes, I do understand that Wednesday have been deducted 6. Let's have a look here. Any more comments? Alex says, Pulis is having a massive overhaul in January, and we've got the money to do so since our 3-year spending period has reset. Could be very interesting. Could be another Chancery gamble. I don't know whether you want that. Joe says, Norwich are the best team in the league, though, aren't they? Well, the table says that Norwich are the best team in the league at the moment. So if you believe in a single factor analysis, then yes, they are. There are plenty of other arguments to say that they are at the moment. We'll see come May where Norwich finish. I suspect it won't be far from where they are at the moment, though. Right. That was a great stream. 1 hour, 37 minutes. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate your support and what we're trying to do on the channel here. Detailed, balanced analysis of a great division with some self-aware fans who can all leave their bias at the door, except when it comes to goal of the week, where everyone's literally voting for players from their own team. But there you go. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Enjoy your Sunday. I'm on Blue Monday duty tonight. If you want to check that out, hear some Ipswich fans moaning after losing to Portsmouth. And then it will be Dearly Departed review tomorrow. We'll be live doing that one possibly. And then a Dearly Departed preview as well. Fantasy League video will be up tomorrow or Monday rather. And then we'll be back into the Championship stuff. Championship preview on Tuesday live at 1 p.m. Thank you to Anthony in the chat, Alex, David, Nat. Thank you guys for all of your support. We get in there 13,402 subscribers we have got. So we're getting there. We're getting where we need to. But I do still need all of your support in the short term. So Super Chat, Patreon, Teesprings, and the likes of Russ, who is the fan sponsor for this here show. A fan and now a friend, Russ Peake, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you, Russ. He is the fan sponsor of this here review show. Thank you for hanging in there, guys. 1 hour and 40 minutes. So I will bid you all farewell. And from me, it is over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.